Joining me to discuss how things are going in Gaza and also in the other war in Ukraine is our regular commentator, General Jack Keane, a former Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army and four-star general, and now Chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General Keane, it's been some time since I last talked to you. Good to see you again. So I'm actually after an update on these wars. First to Gaza. What is happening to the peace there?
As we predicted, the challenge in front of us is Hamas has no intention to disarm or to give up governance. And what is taking place right now, the United States is going before the UN Security Council to make a proposal to establish officially an international stabilization force. And then the issue is disarming Hamas. And will that one be accepted as a mission to the parties? And do they have the resolve to do it? My informal discussion is there's not a country out there that wants to take on disarming Hamas. If they don't disarm Hamas, what's going to happen then? Well, I think we had a sign of that when the peace deal was announced in the White House with Prime Minister Netanyahu standing next to President Trump. President Trump made an announcement that if Hamas did not disarm and give up governance, then he would support Israel and the IDF going back in to finish Hamas once and for all. The challenge with that is all the people are back in Gaza City where Hamas is. So we have a lot of work in front of us, Andrew, but I still think we have some of this war left to go before Hamas is finished.
So we're back to where square one, that the only country in the world that seems to have the appetite and the ability to disarm Hamas is Israel. To Ukraine, General, Russia is boasting now that it has virtually captured the critical city of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine. It's reportedly sent a huge army, 100,000 men to grab it. Now, if the city does fall, well, just look at the map. I mean, you can see that Russia can then cut off a big chunk of the Donbass that it's trying to capture and the Ukrainian soldiers in it, which is probably why Ukraine's president was in the city, I think, yesterday to encourage the troops. What is the state of this battlefield?
Well, it's not as Russia describes it. They've tried, this is almost 2 years in the making, to take Pokrovsk. They're suffering on average over 1,000 casualties a day. They are not winning this war. And there is no way that Russia can take the entire Donbass region. The Institute for Study of War thinks it'd take them 3 to 4 years. The problem we have is Russia creates such a false narrative. The media picks it up as its gospel. We get people running around the United States, and some of them actually every once in a while are able to provide advice to President Trump on these things, on these false narratives. One, the justification for the war, completely false, that Eastern Ukraine and NATO is encroaching on Russia. That's an absurdity. All those countries used to be a part of the Soviet Union. They want no part of Russia, and they want to be a part of NATO to protect them from Russia, not to invade it. And that's narrative number one. Narrative number two is Russia's winning the war. And that's just not true. Ukraine doesn't have the capability to drive them out right now, but Russia is not going to take this entire Donbass region anytime soon. And they have taken, as you indicated, staggering losses in attempting to do this. And the so-called taking of Pokrovsk is infantry small squads that have infiltrated certain parts of it. So even that is a bit of a false narrative. Putin believes that he's received no significant pressure in his mind to stop the war. And that's why he won't go to a ceasefire, because he believes in his mind he can likely continue this for another year or two, admittedly taking significant losses. He won't make a lot of progress, but what he believes he'll do is he'll wear down President Trump, wear down the United States, and do the same with the Europeans. And by escalating the war on the Ukrainian people, Andrew, he thinks that pressure that comes from killing women and children and other people who are not involved in the war will put pressure on Zelensky to make concessions. We have to give Ukraine all the offensive weapons that we have to provide them the capability to take out significant deep targets that are really where the killer drones are coming from, the manufacturing center, and the bombers that are delivering the glide bombs and the cruise missiles that are killing so many of the Ukrainian people. So the war is going to continue the way it is as of right now. And hopefully the European leaderships have demonstrated their steadfastness to stick with it. President Trump is doing the same, in my judgment. And we're going to see what happens over time. Putin will likely wave a flag and say, I'd like to go back to the negotiating table. I don't think Trump is going to put up with it unless he knows he already gets a commitment out of him before the negotiations for a ceasefire.
Well, I've got to thank you, General, because I know how busy you've been behind the scenes to try to get the president on the right track here. You're being diplomatic about it, but I really appreciate it. And I can see he's essentially done a 180-degree turn from attacking Ukraine and demanding its surrender to giving it intelligence for these long-range strikes on oil facilities in Russia that have been so damaging. He hasn't given the tomahawks yet, but one hopes that that decision is not that far in the future. General Keane, thank you so much for your time.
Good talking to you, Andrew, and good seeing you again. Thank you.